Here we are again today. I'm actually revisiting the first image I made for myself and what started it all. These Kiodiekin Extreme Supreme for the Raspberry Pi 3B Plus. Arcade Punks did a fantastic job reviewing this when it was released over about a year ago. And so I personally have never gone over my actual image that I made for myself. So we're going to cover that today. All right, guys, so this is the image that started it off for me. This was originally the 128 gigabyte Supreme V2 image and build that We're Dirty Gaming and Rugalog made a couple years ago. About 3 years ago now? No, about 2 years ago. And this was right after the Raspberry Pi 3B Plus, initially came out. And I had a whole bunch of horror stories. I couldn't get images and stuff to burn. But anyway, found this one. And so I decided to modify and customize everything myself. I've added some games to it. I've added some themes to it, of course. But one of the questions that I see a lot in the forums is there a game list out there with all the multiplayer games, primarily 4-player games for arcade? And incidentally, I had a lot of downtime at the time, and I was really, fascinated with the Raspberry Pi 3B. And so that's when I went through a lot of the arcade games. I went through all of them, and I started customizing everything, all of my favorites, everything that I loved about the arcade scene and consoles. I had more than enough time. This was way before Arcade 1-Up came out, and so I wasn't even playing Xbox that much anymore. And I just wanted to just totally make this mine. And honestly, I've probably spent more time in this game list than any other image that I've ever worked on. So this is the Kiodiekin Extreme Supreme image that incidentally was released to the public because the Wolf of Gaming wanted to use a particular type of controller for his Raspberry Pi or his arcade unit. And I was like, well, Dirty Gaming and Regular, they added all the drivers for their build. So I said, why don't you try it? And nobody could find Supreme V2. It was like it was erased off the internet for some time. So I sent him over my copy. And at this time, of course, I didn't know anything about deleting controllers. I didn't know anything about shrinking or anything. I was literally just trying to help somebody out. And so I uploaded the link that was on my Google Drive at the time into a group. And next thing I know, the next day, Level 1 Online says, hey, Keo, Arcade Punks has your image up online. I'm like, what? So that's how that got released accidentally. But again, one of the questions that I get asked a lot, or I see in the forum, is where do you find most of the multiplayer games as far as 4-player games? And so when I had already made all this, I have about 200 and something favorites that I already went through, a lot of the arcade games. Now, I would probably have to say that this is probably the most comprehensive list that you guys can probably find as far as 4-player. I don't think I have all of them listed or favorited, but I want to show you guys most of them. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. Obviously, it's not any of these. Aliens vs. Predator, that is a 3-player game. You could go into the dip settings and change that from 2-player to 3-player. And let's see, we got Bionic Commando. No, I'm sorry, not Bionic Commando, but Captain Commando. That is a 4-player game as well. Oh, it's weird, I don't have it listed on this one, but it should be down there. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, that's 3-player. Captain America and the Avengers, that is a 4-player game. This one was a little tricky. You guys can go back and watch my MAME settings and understanding dip settings in order to change the configuration. But this one, initially, when I had it is a 4-player game on PC running MAME. But when you put on the Pi, you do have to change the settings. And there's 2 different steps you have to go through to change it from 2-player to 4-player. So you do have that on there as well. Just want to kind of go down the list where you guys can see a lot of these games. And again, not all of these are 3 players, or I'm sorry, are 4-player games, but I would say the majority of them are here. Now, if you do happen to download this image, you can extract the game list and save it over to your arcade unit. And then also, it should have Becky O'Hare. Where's Bucky O'Hare? It should be on here as well. Okay, I don't think it's on here. But yeah, Bucky O'Hare should be on here as well as a 4-player game. So between this image and also the Supreme 1-Up, you guys will find most of the 4-player arcade games that you will find available. This one is definitely iconic to me. This is one of the rarest games you can find for the PlayStation, where you had to use a multi-tap. You know, of course, along with NFL Blitz. Fantastic Four for the PlayStation is 4-player, so that is a great game. And that is a great game to add even if you are doing an arcade-only build, because, well, I think it does use 6 buttons, maybe 4, maybe 5, in order to fully play the game. But it does meet one of the games in my criteria that was made for console only, that I would highly recommend for an arcade version to be made or added to any type of arcade build. And let's go down a little bit further. We got Golden Axe and a few other ones here. And obviously you guys know about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and you also know about the X-Men games as well. This is another good one. I believe this one here is 3-player. This is Knights of the Round, so that's another great game. I actually found out about this game on the SNES. I'd never played this one at the arcade, but it definitely leaves up. It definitely has a lot of full potential. Here's another one, Knights of Valor and Knights of Valor 2. These are some great games. Again, this one is a 4-player game. However, you do have to go into the dip settings and change it as well. And then, of course, you also have Knights of Valor, Superheroes. That is another 4-player arcade game. You guys will definitely love that one. That was a nice beat 'em up. And we got Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I don't even know why I have this one on here, but I was hoping at the time that it would run. But it doesn't run full speed on the Pi 3B Plus. Let's see, Metal Slug. No, that one's not 4 players, obviously. And then, of course, we got Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. That's a 3-player game. Now, of course, most of the NBA games or sports-related games in any type of arcade scenario are 4 players. So you have your NBA Jam, you have your NBA Hang Time. You also have some hockey games and some other games like that. So pretty much most of your you'll find most of your 4-player games are sports games as well. Yeah, that's PlayStation. It's another one of my favorites, Need for Speed. That one's only 2 players though. So you got Pac-Man, Puzzle Bobble. So we got Raiden. This one's only 2 players. And just to recap, this is the favorite section on my Raspberry Pi 3B Plus. So these are most of my top tier favorite games of all time. Here's another good one, Shinku 3. I'm not sure if this one is 4 players. I could probably check it out. Let's take a look. We'll get to the end of it and we'll cover it real quick. You know, one of the things that I loved about going through all the favorite games and having the time to do it was just finding those hidden gems. all the games that you wouldn't know about or would never spend some time on. Let's see here. Options. Diagnostic input, hold select. Let's see. Let's see. Dip settings, setting up the soft dip. Okay. That's where you would set up your demo. Coin 1, coin 2. Let's go back, setting up the hard dip. Free play mode. Hardware test. Exit. Okay, so yeah, that one there is only 2 players. In some of the games like Aliens versus Predator, some of the other ones, you can go into your dip settings and change it, and you can see either 2-player or 4-player. Bionic Commando is a notorious game where it'll let you pick. I think it gives you the option from either 2 players, 3, and then 4 instead of just 2 and 4. So, The Simpsons is an automatic default 4-player game. You guys should all know about that if you guys have been in the arcade world for any length of time. Oh yeah, Spider-Man the arcade game. That one is definitely a 4-player game. The only thing I hated about that game was it's actually this one here. Is the only thing I hated about that game. It seemed like your health would deteriorate just from moving around. So I hated games like that, especially when you're fighting for quarters and you're a kid and you're trying to play. I mean, who wants to lose life just by walking around and not getting hit or it's caused by any type of damage? Let's see here. And of course, I already mentioned these: Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Turtles in Time, and of course, WrestleFest, and of course, X-Men series. You guys should all know about that. And The Punisher, one of my all-time favorite games. I wish this one was 3 players, but it's 2. I remember first playing it back in '93 at what was the name of that hotel? At Circus in Las Vegas. That's what a lot of the top tier games were first released, was Las Vegas. People would get them, and it's surprising because I know when Arcade 1-Up released it, I saw a lot of guys said they had never played it or heard of the game, and very fun game. And in fact, I've been told that the Japanese version of this game has a flaming kick with the Punisher, so that's how you can tell which version. I've never actually seen it. I've just been told that, but I guess due to censorship restrictions, they changed a few things, and so yeah, he had a flaming kick in one of the Japanese ROMs, so that's the word on the street. And of course, we got The Simpsons. You guys all know about that. Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. That is definitely not a 4-player game. WCW, no. These are all SNES games here. All of my favorites. I wish WWF No Mercy was an arcade game at the time. I mean, it's one of the best wrestling games that's ever been made. So 4 players, I mean, everything was fully customizable as far as moves and creating your own character. But unfortunately, it's not an arcade game. And of course, we got the X-Men down here, which I already mentioned. And, but again, guys, this is pretty much a big list. I do have more. Like I said, Bucky O'Hare is not on this list. It should be. Don't know why. I think I probably put that on another image I made. But yeah, most of the 4-player games are listed here. If you guys have any questions, leave a comment below. I will probably try to see maybe in the future if I can get a more comprehensible list actually written down, so that way you guys can just copy it, paste it, save it for yourselves to see which ones are some of the best games. But all in all, I mean, those are some of my top tier favorites, and there's a few more I need to add to it as well. But just wanted to kind of go over this a little bit because I haven't done a review on this build. I mean, this is what really got me started going through all the games and customizing it. And so just wanted to show you guys where I started right after Arcade Expo 4.0. in March 2018, where I met Billy Mitchell and Richie Knuckles and several other guys there, Sean Venison. So that's where it all started. Back in, I think this was about maybe May, June, July of 2018. So I did add on a bunch of these games on here. So we got Daphne, light gun games. All right, guys. Well, consider subscribing and sharing this video, and I will be back with more information for you guys. Peace.